Crystal, that's one thing that many beautypreneurs and stylepreneurs have never experienced. A $3,500 day, a $4,500 day. And what we want you guys to know is that that is possible. That's not anything that's unheard of. And Crystal at the time had an agency. Could you expound upon what an agency is and what an agency does for professional beautypreneurs?
Yeah, well, an agency is a company that represents talent. They manage, market, negotiate, and direct your career. If it's a good agency, that's what they do. And you get an artist in, and let me say this too. It's not easy to get $3,500 a day. You have to be at the tippy top of your game to get that kind of money. And that doesn't mean that you work backstage on the Stellar Awards and did Puffy's mama, and now you think you're a celebrity stylist. It doesn't work like that. But as you build your portfolio, I think the first number I probably got, Nico, was probably about $1,250 a day on his first album cover, which was for Sony Music, and went from $1,250 a day to $1,500, from $1,500 to $25, and from $25 to $35. And I forgot the question. What was the question?
I love it. You are so real. I just love it. Could you tell our audience what an agent is?
Okay. So as an agent, it's my responsibility to keep the artists working, basically. It is the agent's responsibility to reassemble your portfolio so that it is attractive to the end user. When you were talking about creating an experience, that's one of the terms I use all the time. What you are doing is creating an experience for the end user. When they go to your portfolio, a lot of times what can be wrong with somebody's portfolio is not that they have bad pictures, they have them badly arranged. Or they have too many images, or they have too many of the same thing. And one of the things that an agent does for you is they prune your book. They take the things out that might be considered filler as opposed to substance. The agency negotiates your fees, and then the agency collects your money so that you don't have to be the good guy, creative person, and the bad guy collecting your money. The agency also helps to direct your career. If you come into the agency and say, this is what I want to do, and this is where I want to end up in 5 years, and I look at your book, I look at the book and say, okay, what do we have? What can we keep? What do we have to get rid of? And what do we have to add to this book to get you to where you want to be in 5 years? But a lot of times artists come into agencies and they don't have any kind of plan of their own. No agency is interested in an artist that doesn't have a plan. But let me say this. An agency that has space might be able to use you to fill it. But that doesn't mean that they'll grow your career if they don't feel like you have a future. And that's real. And they're not going to tell you that. That's why some of the big agencies, you'll hear an artist tell you that they're on somebody's roster, but you go to the website and you can't find them. That's because the agency only considers them filler. All they're getting is the overflow work that somebody else that they have on the roster that they're promoting isn't getting or isn't available for. How about that?
Yes.
That's the real deal.
Yes. This is so true. And Crystal, you speak a lot about the importance of building a portfolio. Can you explain to our listeners what a portfolio is and why it is so important if they're looking to do any work in film, television, music videos, why it's important for them to have a portfolio?
Well, because the images in your portfolio are there to display your skills to a potential employer. The decision maker that has the budget to hire you is your employer. even when you're freelancing. That decision maker that has the ability to hire you for a job. The thing is that in order to build a portfolio, you have to test. And testing is a process that takes years. It is a collaboration between a makeup artist, a hairstylist, a fashion stylist, a manicurist, a model, and a photographer. What many artists in the hair business do not understand, so I hope you're listening, is that you do not pay photographers to test. You don't pay them. This culture of paying photographers and getting your pictures in hair books works for the salon to show your clients, but it does not work for celebrities. And when you find a photographer who wants to do the same kind of thing that you want to do, and when I say do what you want to do, I mean your 5-year goal, then you'll find a photographer that doesn't expect you to pay them money, because the process of testing is a collaboration. And in the collaboration, what happens is everyone brings their skills. The makeup artist brings their skills and their kit. The hairstylist brings their skills and their kit. The manicurist does the same thing. The fashion stylist brings their clothes that they've gone to the store and pulled, and their kit and their skills. And the photographer comes and brings his skills and his equipment. Everybody comes together. When you find a photographer that wants you to pay them, there are a couple of reasons they want you to do that. One of the reasons they want you to pay them is because they don't particularly like your work anyway, and they don't see that your work is going to add anything to their portfolio. So if they're going to do something for you, they're going to charge you for it. The other scenario is the photographer who makes a living by charging people to do pictures. I'm not mad at that photographer. But if you are an artist that's trying to work in the industry, that photographer is not for you. Because there are plenty of photographers who work with makeup, hair, and stylists every day, and not a single penny changes hands. Not a penny.
So as you talk about the process of testing, there may be some people out there listening who maybe a lot of this information is very new to you. There may be someone who is in beauty school or just graduated from beauty school. Let's break down a little bit about how a person could go about finding those people. Are there websites that they could go to? What is the best way to find?
It's not really about just going to a website. The thing that is wrong with most people that are trying to build their book is that they don't have a standard by which they measure the photographers that they're testing with in the first place. They don't know the difference between good photography and bad photography. And I tell people all the time, you have to train your eye to recognize good photography. Because if you don't know the difference between good photography and bad photography, you'll work with everybody that has a camera. And not everybody that has a camera is a good photographer. Some of those people, that's just their hobby. And now they're going to take your beautiful hair and put it in their bad hobby, and you're going to end up with bad pictures. That's what's going to happen. And then you wonder why you can't get anybody to want to hire you. Because the thing is this, if you train your eye to recognize good photography by looking at the top magazines in the world, then you have created a standard by which to measure the photographers you're considering working with. It starts there. It starts there. Once you have a standard, when you look at a photographer's work, you're thinking, you might not know exactly why you don't like it. You might not know the technical terms regarding lighting and shadows and all of that. But what you'll know is it doesn't meet the new standard that you created for yourself when you started training your eye to recognize good photography by looking at good photography. And that is a good enough reason to walk away.
It's so true. That is so true. And that's a lesson that I learned the hard way. You guys, we tend to see work and we don't know the difference. And many times there are some photographers that don't know the difference between shooting fashion and beauty looks and editorial looks versus shooting somebody's, some little boy's sporting game. They're completely different. And it's something that I learned the hard way, which is why I want you guys to get this information from the source. She is the go-to person. Crystal knows all about how to choose photographers and how to find makeup artists and how to get, models. And that's very important as well to start building your portfolio. And you can find all of this information in her book, The Hair, Makeup, Fashion Styling, and Manicurist Career Guide. She explains all of these different things. So I highly, highly recommend you guys get this. Crystal, once a person starts to develop their portfolio and get photos for their portfolio, you mentioned possibly having online portfolios. What are your recommendations for having a portfolio online? What websites would you recommend that beautypreneurs could use for that?
Well, the first thing I want to tell them is if they are spending more than $300 a year on a portfolio, they paid too much. There are two outstanding references. One of them is Live Books, and that's livebooks.com. And the other one is ViewBook. You can spend as little as $6.99 a month up to $24.95 a month for a portfolio, and you'll have everything that you need. You do not need to go and hire some webmaster, and please don't hire your cousin Mookie to build your website.
Oh, God.
Did you not? I am just amazed at how people pay people or don't pay them. My favorite one is that Mookie is going to do your website for free, and that's why you've been waiting for 2 years to get it. And every day that you don't have it is another day that you can't get a job because nobody can see what you do. Go to Live Books, go to ViewBook. You can do a trial to see if you like it. You can upload your own images into your portfolio and have a portfolio to show in a matter of a couple of hours.
You guys, please go to those websites. I highly recommend it. I took a class with you, Crystal, a few years back at Premier Orlando, and you really just spoke into my spirit. This woman got me to get up off my butt. You know how we sit around and we think about the things we're going to do. One day I'm going to do this. One day I'm going to do that. And one day just never comes. And after taking this class, I not only got her books, I started getting my portfolio together. And I had been in the industry a while. Okay. So I'm not just talking about someone who had started a year ago. This has been something that I've been talking about, getting my portfolio together, getting it online. And you actually recommended bigblackbag.com.
Oh, yeah.
And I have loved it. It has been just a huge resource for me to be able to get my work out there, have my portfolio online. It's been a great way for celebrities to find me as well as just regular clients. So that's another awesome resource. And I highly recommend that you guys check those out. Now, I want to talk a little bit more, Crystal, about your books. You also have written 30 Days at 100%. Could you tell us a little bit about your inspiration for writing that?
Well, in 2000 and I don't know, it must have been 2008 or something, I had a really, really bad second marriage. By the time I was in it for 3 years, and it took me 3 years to get out, and by the time I got out of it, I didn't even recognize myself. And nothing was going quite the way it should have. I mean, I wasn't making any money. I was sitting in my living room on a Sunday morning. I should have gotten up and gone to church, gone to Faithful Central. But I was sitting there with my hair slung up in a ponytail, wearing a pair of sweats and some footies and a t-shirt. And to know me is to know that I am not a sweats, t-shirt wearing, sling your hair up in a ponytail kind of girl.
No, you're not.
I am not that kind of girl. And I was looking out that window that morning wondering what on earth had happened to my fabulous life. what had happened to my fabulous life of shopping in Beverly Hills and going skiing 3-4 times a year with my friends, eating in fabulous restaurants. I would swear my life was a shell of that. And God dropped 30 days at 100% into my spirit. I was sitting there and all of a sudden I was like, 30 days at 100%, 30 days of, what is that? 30 days at 100%. I sat there for the longest time just thinking about it. I picked up the phone, called one of my girlfriends, and I said to her, Felice, are you living your life at 100%? She said, what are you talking about? I said, I don't know. Just answer the question. Are you living your life at 100%? Well, the answer was no. She had a travel business and she admitted, she said, I could be doing better if I would do better, I could be doing better in this business. If I would do more. And she wasn't. She admitted that. Then I called another friend of mine up, Kathy, and I said, Kathy, are you living your life at 100%? Well, the answer was no, because she hated her job. Then I called my friend Manifa up and asked her the same question. Manifa's a makeup artist. Are you living your life at 100%? The answer was no, because she had some ideas for some products that she wanted to do and she wasn't doing anything about it. And I said, tomorrow morning, we're going to get on the phone at 7:30 in the morning on Monday, and we are going to figure out how to live our lives at 100%. And Manifa's like, Chrissy, what are you talking about? I said, I don't know. Just here's the conference call number. Tomorrow morning at 7:30, we're going to get on the phone. And I didn't know what we were going to do. But when I got on the phone that morning, I figured it out. I said, I know what we should do. We should find one thing, just one thing that we could do right now that would put us back on the path to living our lives at 100%. One thing that we could do to get the engine started again. And everybody picked something that they were going to do. And I decided I was going to get up in the morning and get dressed. That I was going to get up, I was going to get dressed, I was going to put my makeup on. And I can remember thinking, this must be what it feels like to a woman who has postpartum depression. This must be what it feels like when you don't even know that you're depressed, but you are. And I got up every single day for 2 weeks, and all I did was just get dressed and put my makeup on. That's all I could manage to do. But by the end of the first week, I started feeling better. By the end of the second week, I was on fire. And then what we did was we started having a call every week, and we would only be on the call for 20 minutes. And everybody would talk about what success they were having with just the one thing that they had decided to do. And the next month, I sat down in front of my computer and God put the words in my head and they came out on the keyboard, and I wrote that book, 30 Days at 100%, Changing Your Life 30 Days at a Time. This year, I've been doing classes since 1999, a portfolio building workshop. It started out as a 1-day, then it became a 2-day, then a 3-day. And this is the first year I'm doing a 4-day event. What is your 100%? What happens over time is that you start giving up a little bit of yourself in this area and a little bit of yourself in that area and a little bit of yourself till pretty soon instead of operating at 100%, you're operating at 72 or 68 or 59 or in the 40 percentile. And the idea is, what does 100% look like? Because until you remember what it looks like, or you create the standard for what it looks like, it's hard to get there.
Crystal, it's so true. And as I went through that book, it causes you to do some soul searching. It causes you to really explore where the areas of your life and what areas of your life need improving and improvement. A lot of times we just become complacent and things just become our new normal, but that's not who you are.
That's not who you are.
And it's so far from who we truly are. So this book, you guys, really will help you take your life back, get back on track, and focus on why you're really here and what your purpose and your goals are in life. Crystal, you talked a little bit about what's coming up. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, PYP, for those of you who don't know, my PYP workshop, the long title of it is Packaging Your Portfolio, Marketing Yourself as a Freelance Makeup, Hair, Fashion Stylist, or Manicurist. And what we're doing is I'm doing the PYP workshop, and we're also doing a Freelance Business Development Summit. And the whole title is PYP, Freelance Business Development Summit, Transforming Artists into Stylepreneurs. Because one of my missions in life is to get every makeup, hair, fashion stylist, or manicurist to realize that they are entrepreneurs. They are stylepreneurs. They are beautypreneurs. It is also about running your business, because without the business side of it, it's hard to be creative. And we've got all kinds of fabulous things. We've got, for people who are a little further along in their career, maybe they already have a portfolio. We've got a class on pitching yourself to sell your expertise for on-camera beauty and fashion segments on morning TV. I mean, in every market, small and large, there are morning shows that have makeup artists and hairstylists and manicurists who come on and do beauty segments. Who wouldn't want to get exposure doing that? Who doesn't want to raise their profile by, helping regular women to know how to dress or wear or how to do their hair, and then being able to tell those people, by the way, my salon is here. So we've got those kinds of segments. We've got segments on, making the leap to spokesperson or brand ambassador. So building a consumer clientele. We've got some fabulous, classes that are being offered at the Business Summit. I'm very excited.
We will have all of the information over at hairartistacademy.com. It will be available in the show notes. So go over, head over to Crystal's website, check all that information out. She's doing some phenomenal things in the beauty industry. And Crystal, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show today. Before we go, could you give us your 3 top tips, tools, or tactics for becoming a successful beautypreneur?
I would say number 1 is get to know who's in your sandbox.
I like that.
You've got to know. One of the things about makeup, hair, and stylists is that a lot of times, even if they open up a magazine, if you do hair, you look at the hair. If you do makeup, you look at the makeup. If you do nails, you look at the nails. But not one of those things alone does a picture make. You've got to expand your territory. You've got to look at the picture and start to understand that every single one of those elements makes up a picture. So get to know who's in your sandbox. What basketball team and what NBA basketball team goes out to play another team without knowing who's on the other team, who's on all 12 or 16 of those teams. So get to know who's in your sandbox. The next thing is, get to know the difference between good and bad photography so that you can make good choices about who to work with. And then the third one is have a goal that you want to achieve. A 2-year goal, a 3-year goal, and a 5-year goal. That 5-year goal is where you want to end up in 5 years. And if you just stop to think about it in terms of what kind of work do I want to be doing in 5 years? What is my perfect job? Or what is my perfect client? It goes back to planning the work and working the plan. If you have women walk into your salon and they can only pay you $25 for a shampoo, blow dry, and curl, maybe you need to redefine your client. Redefine the client. Where does the client that can pay you $85 for the shampoo and blow dry, where does she work? How much money does she make? Where does she live? That if you want that to be your goal in 5 years, you've got to create a profile for that client. If you want to be working on Vogue magazine, you better start to know who's working on Vogue right now, what photographers are shooting for Vogue right now, who those photographers are already working with, and what that person's profile is. Because those are the kinds of things that can help you to design a life. You shouldn't be surviving in your business. You should be designing a life. Plan to work and work the plan.
Thank you so much, Crystal, for joining us on the Hair Artist Academy podcast today. For those of you who want to learn more about Crystal, she is all over the web, social media, online, her website. You can go visit her there. Crystal, can you give us your social media info?
I would love to. On Twitter, you can find me at Crystal_Wright. On Instagram, I am Crystal Wright Live, and that's CrystalWrightLive. On Facebook, you can find me at Facebook.com/Crystal.Wright, as well as Facebook.com/Makeup, Hair, and Styling.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We appreciate it. We appreciate you taking the time to listen in, because if you've been listening to this entire episode, that means that you're really serious about your career in the beauty industry. And we're here to help you build and grow that. Until next time, live your purpose, pursue your passion, and be the prosperous being you were born to be.
Thanks for listening to the Hair Artist Academy podcast. For the show notes and links discussed in today's episode, visit hairartistacademy.com.